What is going on, everyone? It's Rylan with Rylan's Amazing Photography, and today I want to be talking about mistakes that you can avoid in wildlife photography. I know better than anyone, wildlife photography can be really hard getting started with, and I still make mistakes today. So today we're going to go over some of my mistakes and how you can avoid them and prevent them. And how can you avoid them and prevent them? Well, you can look at what I did and then say, oh wow, that was a really dumb decision for him to do. And I'm going to explain all my dumb decisions to you. First off, before I get into these photos showing you all the stuff that I've screwed up on, I do want to thank Tigo Costa Visser. I'm still not sure if I ever say his name right. I've gave him some shout outs on here before, but I want to thank him. Let me put my Instagram handle up on the screen right now. Oh, I bet you're thinking, wow, that looks fancy. That little animation, good for you, Rylan. He made that for me. He also threw in a couple other things, like one for my website and one for my name as well. So I really appreciate Tigo doing that. Thank you, Tigo. If you're interested in getting an animation of something like that for your YouTube channel, for your Instagram, for an actual project or something, his information is down below in the comments. I will put his Instagram handle up on the screen here as well. You can probably shoot him a message on there. And then his email I will put down below in the description as well. So big thanks to Tigo for doing all that for me. I really appreciate it. So now let's check out some of the photos that I've totally screwed up on in my career. And a lot of these are pretty recent. So even though I've been doing wildlife photography for almost, actually probably a little over 2 years, I still make mistakes and I'm still not perfect, and there's still things that I wish I haven't did, and I ponder, why did you do that, Rylan? Because that was really dumb. So I'm on my phone now. This Eastern Tiger Stripe, it's a beautiful butterfly. I mean, there's no denying that. It's a beautiful butterfly. It's a pretty decent photo, and most people wouldn't think that there's anything wrong with this. However, I don't like it. I don't like this photo, and there's a couple reasons why. The first reason is, as I zoom in here, you can see that it's just really close to kind of the boundaries of the photo. It's really close to the edges. And when it comes to changing the crop of something to post on Instagram or Facebook or to get a print of it, that can be really irritating because it might cut off the butterfly. I have filled practically the entire frame of this photo in terms of horizontalness. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. I've pretty much filled the entire horizon. I guess I'll use that word. I've pretty much filled the entire horizon with this butterfly. And that's not necessarily wrong to do. But I just, for this photo for me, it's just not the vibe. I just don't think it's that good. I should have zoomed out a little bit and got more of the scene in there, as well as give the butterfly more space on the sides in case I did need to crop it for some reason. Another thing that I just don't like about this photo is the blank space at the top. I mean, there's just a bunch of dead space at the top of this photo, and it's like, for what? You know, like, why did I do that? I don't know what was going through my brain. If there was some cool lighting condition up above the butterfly, yeah, that would be alright. If there were some more flowers that were closer, that were kind of out of focus in the background, that would be alright. But not for this. I can't remember for sure when I took this. There could have been some distraction in the foreground or something that made me not like it for some reason. But I don't think that's the case. I just didn't frame this photo very well. And granted, yeah, I put it on the line in the rule of thirds. But if I was going to do that, doing it horizontally, putting it on one of those lines, it should have been the top line instead of the bottom line, because that's giving me a lot of blank space that just doesn't belong there. So the next photo I got here is this photo of a turkey vulture. It's actually a pretty good photo. When you zoom in and look at the turkey vulture, it's good and sharp. It's a nice image. He's got a nice pose. But there's something that I don't like about this image, and that's just really because I'm being picky. This is more of a personal preference, honestly. And in my opinion, it's got too much, it's just got a lame background. It's a boring background. There's just too much blue in the background. I would like this photo a lot better if there was a cloud or something. I'm not saying it's a bad photo. And I'm not telling you go and have a distracting background, because there's a big difference in having too plain of a background and having too much distractions in a background. Like I said, something like a cloud would really kind of even this image out. There wasn't any clouds in the sky on this day though, so I don't have control of that. And like I said, it's not a bad image, but when you take a photo, you should try to have an interesting background. You don't want just one plain color as a background, but you don't want 10,000 ugly branches going in every direction either. There's a fine line between having a plain background and having too distracting of a background, and you've got to be very careful in terms of how you're going to structure a photo to make sure that you don't accidentally make either one of those mistakes. So, the third photo that I want to look at is a photo of this eastern Phoebe. It's not a bad shot. Most people would look at that and say, wow, that's a pretty nice shot of that bird. Really pretty, great pose. But, did you feel anything when you looked at this photo? Chances are you did not. You probably thought, oh, that's a cool bird. Nice shot, Rollin. But you didn't feel an emotion. And that's something that you're going to want to try to do when taking wildlife photography. Any photography for that matter. Anytime you take a photo, you should want the viewer to feel some sort of emotion, recall some sort of past experience or something when they look at the photo. And I'm not saying that nobody is going to have any kind of emotion to looking at this. Like somebody might think, oh, I used to watch those birds all the time or something like that. But that's more of a past experience that's just going to resonate with that person. When you go through an art gallery and you're looking at people's photos, you're likely going to have some sort of emotion to the photo, to the painting, to the drawing, whatever it is. But you just don't get that with this photo, and I struggle with that a lot in my images, even today. It's really difficult to get a photo that can resonate with somebody, that's going to, not necessarily just one person, but a wide variety of people. It's difficult to do that and just draw like all these emotions in from somebody, and especially in wildlife photography, that it's really hard. A great way to invoke emotions I have found through wildlife photography is using lighting environments, like backlight, just soft golden light. I think light with wildlife photography is a great way to draw emotions of people. And then of course facial expressions as well. If you're dealing with something like a dog, or it's difficult to really get a facial expression in a bird. Maybe a bear, you could get some sort of facial expression. Like a lot of times in wildlife photography, I think it's easy to get like an emotion of laughter or an emotion of humor, something like that. People would probably think, oh, that's funny, that's a cute bear digging in a trash can or something like that. It's hard to kind of evoke more complicated emotions like fear or anxiety. You can't really do anything like that with wildlife photography, I don't think. I'm not saying you can't do it, it's just going to be a lot more difficult to do something like that rather than laughter or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it is important to draw to kind of get a photo to have an emotion for the viewers. But this photo in particular, I didn't do that. It can be difficult to do that, but just keep trying. I'm sure there's, I mean, it takes years, truly years, to get every photo you take to invoke some sort of emotion from somebody. And I've still not figured that one out yet, especially with posting daily on Instagram. There's a lot of my photos that I don't find evoke any sort of emotion, and that's not wrong, but in wildlife photography it's good to evoke emotions every now and then. So this photo is of a green heron. I think that's the name of the bird. It's just slipped my mind. Now that I say it out loud, it doesn't sound right, but no, it's a tricolored heron. This photo is of a tricolored heron, and I don't like it. And why do I say that? Well, it's because it's just kind of average. I like what I was trying to do with this. I was trying to go by the rules of thirds, which is a very important compositional technique in wildlife photography. If you don't know what that is, definitely click this video. I'll explain it in depth in that video. But I did not execute the rule of thirds properly in this shot. I have the heron too far to the right of the frame, and I have it too low in the frame. And I have a bunch of different shots that I took of this heron actually in the same location, and I got it right on one of the shots, but in this shot in particular, it's just not right. It's too far to the right and it's too low. So when you're taking wildlife photography photos, it's important to really pay close attention to your composition, and you want to really focus on making sure that you're getting sort of the right composition. You don't want I mean, if it's just an inch to the right too far, or an inch to the left, or an inch up, or an inch down too far, you can't fix that in post. I mean, it's just gone. It's over. So it's very important to position your photos accurately. And if you're afraid that you can't do that actually in the field, make sure you're leaving room to crop, because you can crop and fix things like that. But a lot of the times you're not going to be able to recover that. So yeah, the fourth mistake that you can avoid is making sure that your composition is correct. So fifth and finally, the last issue, the last mistake that you can avoid in this little video is get down on the ground. Yeah, you're gonna wanna for this photo, it's of a rabbit. And most people probably wouldn't notice this because I was using a telephoto lens and I was squatted down. But I could have gotten lower. And for this photo where the animal's on the ground, you want to get as low as you can possibly get. It's just kind of adds a different perspective, because humans view animals, if they're on the ground, they view them looking down. Like there's going to be a diagonal line going from your eyes down to the ground where the animal is at. Whereas if the photographer gets down on the ground and is looking straight at them, that's a perspective that most people aren't going to see in their lifetimes. Because if you're standing there and you're looking at an animal, you're not going to squat down and like lay on your stomach on the ground. So to see a photo from that perspective kind of opens the human mind a little bit. And that's a really good trick for any wildlife photographer to use. So for this photo, I could have got lower. I did squat down, so it's an alright photo, but I could have got down on my stomach and got a better shot of this. And the only reason that you can kind of notice I didn't is because there's no clover or like foreground element in my lens. And you can see just ever so slightly the clover that's right before the rabbit, it's down a little bit lower than what my camera is, whereas it would look more straight on if I was flat on my stomach on the ground. So it's important to get down low, and I mean very low, when you're taking photos of animals if they're on the ground. Even if they're standing up, a photo looking up at an animal that usually people are face to face with, it's just important to have different sort of perspectives in general. Like if you're viewing a bird, if you have a drone, get up above the bird, take a picture of it from above. Most people aren't going to see the above angle of a bird if it's actually in a tree. There's different just things that you can mess with in terms of the perspective of a photo. And so don't make the mistake of taking a photo of a rabbit that's on the ground standing straight up or just squatted down. Get down as low as you possibly can get, because you're going to get a better photo if you do that. Don't be lazy. Go the extra mile, get on the ground. So folks, that was 5 mistakes that you can avoid in wildlife photography. I hope this video helped you. Hopefully you're not going to make the same mistakes that I made and still make sometimes. Hopefully you're going to be smarter than I am. That doesn't take much a lot of the times. I don't know. I don't know the proper word usage for that, so I guess my statement stands. Once again, thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you're new around here, hit that red subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. Leave the video a like. Once again, shout out to Tigo, Costa Visor, for making me that beautiful Instagram thing. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and I hope you all have an amazing day.